2 for open, right? 1 for close? Okay, got it. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this edition of the Commerce and Labor, Senate Commerce and Labor Committee for the 81st session of the Nevada Legislature. Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Senator Hardy? Here. Senator Lang? Here. Senator Neal?
Here.
Senator Pickard? Here. Senator Scheibel? Here. Senator Settlemyre?
Here.
Chair Spearman?
Here. Thank you. Let the record show that all members are present. We have several items on our work session document today. We will not be hearing any bills. I believe we have gotten all of those done. So we will just be doing work session today. And just want to let everybody know we're now in the twilight zone. Senator Pickard and I both decided to wear purple, and Senator Settlemyre and I have both thought about a consent agenda. So welcome to the twilight zone. With that, there's some of the items, many of the items were, uh-oh. Well, maybe it's not the twilight zone. Maybe we're just all on one accord now. You think so? Okay. Right. So we've got several items that, bills that came out, and there were no agendas. No agendas. There were agendas, but there were no amendments. And what I'd like to do is I'd like to take those items with no amendments. I'd like to take them as a consent agenda. Mr. Melgarejo will read the bills, and after he reads the bills, I will open it up for questions or comments by committee members. And once we do that, then we will vote on those as one consent item, and then we'll move on to the next. Committee members, does anybody have any concern, heartburn? No?
Madam Chair.
Vice Chair? Yes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. In that respect, I gave you the ones that some individuals had requested me to pull out. And just for clarification, that was 51, 207, and 222. The rest, I think, are definitely good bills. Thank you.
We have it. We have it. Vice Chair, do you have any questions or concerns about that?
No, I was just literally just going to ask which ones were contentious.
Yeah, try all of them. But I think we worked it out. I think we worked it out. This is just proof positive that this is the best committee in the legislature. This is the best committee. So thank you all. Thank you all. Teamwork. Mr. Melgarejo?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Cesar Melgarejo, Committee Policy Analyst for the record. These next 4 bills are, the motion would be a do pass as they don't have any amendments. And they are Assembly Bill 91, which revises provisions relating to the State Board of Nursing, sponsored by Assemblywoman Benitez Thompson. Assembly Bill 130 revises provisions governing insurance and sponsored by Assemblyman Flores et al. Assembly Bill 190 provides certain employees with the right to use sick leave to assist certain family members with medical needs. It was sponsored by the Assembly Committee on Commerce and Labor on behalf of the Legislative Committee on Senior Citizens, Veterans, and Adults with Special Needs. And Assembly Bill 210 revises provisions governing the practice of chiropractic and is sponsored by Samuel Yeager. And again, the motion for these group of bills would be a do pass.
Committee members? Questions or concerns? Comments? Okay. Have a motion do pass by Senator Settlemyre. Have a second by Senator Lang. Additional questions? Comments? Let the record show that the consent agenda passes unanimously. We'll work out the floor statements a little later, and we'll just keep moving on. Is that okay? All right. Mr. Melgarejo, and let me say this for those who may be watching. Part of the reason that I thought that this would make sense this morning, and Senator Settlemyre agreed with me, is that we've got people who have to present in other committees, and rather than stopping and starting and that sort of thing. It just seemed like it would be a better use of our time. So, Mr. Melgarejo, please proceed.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Cesar Malgrejo, Committee Policy Analyst. For the record, that's correct. The next group of bills will be a motion for amend do pass, as they have several amendments, which are all included either on the work session document or as attached, or both. For example, AB 290, just for the members' clarification, there's no attachment, but the amendment is on the work session document. Okay, and with that, the first bill is Assembly Bill 250, which revises provisions relating to insurance to supplemental Medicare, sponsored by Assemblywoman Jauregui et al. Assembly Bill 290 revises provisions relating to financial institutions, and sponsored by Assemblywoman Jauregui. Assembly Bill 298 revises provisions relating to non-commercial vehicle leases, sponsored by Assemblyman Flores. Assembly Bill 330 establishes provisions governing occupational training and licensing, sponsored by Assemblyman Ellison. Assembly Bill 359 revises provisions governing trade practices, and sponsored by Assemblywoman Considine. Assembly Bill 391 revises provisions relating to dispensing opticians, and sponsored by Assemblywoman Anderson. And finally, Assembly Bill 436 revises provisions relating to vision care, and was sponsored by Assembly Committee on Commerce and Labor. And Madam Chair, once again, the motion would be amend do pass.
Have a motion, Senator Sotomayor. Was that Senator Sotomayor? Senator Sotomayor, and a second, Senator Lang. Additional questions, and if you have questions on the amendments or anything relative to the specificity of them, don't be afraid to ask now. I don't see. Okay. All right, Madam Secretary, please do a roll call vote.
Senator Hardy?
Yes.
Senator Lang?
Yes.
Senator Neal?
Yes.
Senator Pickard?
Yes.
Senator Scheibel? Senator Settlemeyer? Chair Spearman? Chair Spearman?
Say yes.
Thank you.
And so, Vice Chair, did you call her already? Yeah, okay, I'm sorry. I had a hard time with my long division because I talked all the way through 4th grade and I didn't hear anything, so the habit continues. So let the record show that second consent agenda passes unanimously. And with that, let me give it back to Mr. Melgarejo, and we'll continue with the other bills that we may or may not have discussion on. So, Mr. Melgarejo.
Thank you, Chair Spearman. Cesar Malgrejo, Committee Policy Analyst, for the record. There are two bills that were not part of either of the consensus votes. The first bill is Assembly Bill 207, which provides that certain businesses which offer goods or services through an internet website, mobile application, or other electronic medium are places of public accommodation, and is sponsored by Assemblyman Watts III et al. And there are some amendments included in the mock-up that's attached. The first amendment is to subsection 3B of section 1 to revise the definition of online establishment to provide that an online establishment does not include a business that is operated in conjunction with a physical location which is open to the public. And the second amendment is to amend subsection 4 of section 1 to revise the definition of place of public accommodation so that the only change is to include an online establishment. And Madam Chair, that's all the amendments.
Committee, questions or comments? Senator Pickard?
Thank you, Madam Chair. While I certainly appreciate and agree with the intent of the bill, I think that the changes that we're talking about are going to greatly expand the definition of public accommodation. And I think this opens employers to suit in their premises for things that really have nothing to do with the bill, and so I'll be a no on this. Thank you.
Additional questions? Comments? Okay, Vice Chair? No, okay. Madam Secretary, please call the roll for the vote, please. You know, I have to tell you, Senator Ratty sits in this seat the day before we meet in the last committee, and I'm telling you, something is about this seat. It just, yeah, I don't know. So I'll entertain a motion. Let me do that. Motion?
So moved.
Okay, I have a motion by Senator Scheibel. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second.
Second from Vice Chair Neal. Additional questions? Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Senator Hardy?
No.
Senator Lang?
Yes.
Senator Neal?
Yes.
Senator Pickard?
No.
Senator Scheibel? Senator Settlemeyer?
No.
And Chair Spearman.
Yes? And let the record show that the motion does pass unanimously. Mr. Margaret-Hill?
Oh, no unanimous.
No unanimous.
Okay, thank you, Madam Chair. For the record, Cesar Margarejo, Committee Policy Analyst. Our next bill for the agenda is Assembly Bill 222, which revises provisions governing employment practices and was sponsored by Assemblywoman Torres. There is an amendment attached to this work session document, and the amendment is to delete paragraph C of subsection 2 of section 1, which expressly authorizes an employee who suffers certain unlawful employment practices and brings a civil action against the employer to obtain damages equal to the amount of the lost wages and benefits. Madam Chair, that's all the amendments.
Thank you. And I know I did meet with those who are in opposition, and we also talked to our committee counsel. Mr. King, can you weigh in on this one?
Thank you, Madam Chair. For the record, Will Keene, Committee Counsel. The amendment would remove the item which specifically provides for damages equal to the amount of lost wages and benefits. However, the employee is still able to bring the suit, and according to 2D, for any past or future compensatory damages, which would have to be shown in court. And there's several cases that that relate to this bill, and the bill puts in statute various provisions that are discussed in those court cases.
Do I have any questions? Questions? Comments?
Madam,
Yes.
so Mr. Keene, so compensatory damages will be in there, but you can't go after lost wages. Is that what I'm hearing?
Thank you, Madam Vice Chair. For the record, Will Keene, Committee Counsel. Well, the specific item for damages equal to the amount of lost wages and benefits has been removed. However, as in most tort actions, a claimant can prove damages, and compensatory damages can be specific damages, specific items that are lost that can be specifically enumerated. But they can also be items such as emotional distress, other items like that. Compensatory damages are very broad.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Keene.
Senator Pickard?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to make sure I'm clear on the amendment that though it would limit it to lost wages and benefits, it retains the part in section 1, 2D that it would include future compensatory damages without limitation. Is that correct?
I'm happy to answer that question. Yes, Senator Pickard. Item section 1, subsection 2, paragraph D is still in the bill, and it would allow for compensatory damages past and future. Of course, those would have to be shown in court, as in any other case. They'd have to prove them.
Sure, I appreciate that, and I suspect the judges will be a little skeptical about, future damages ad infinitum, but my concern, Madam Chair, is actually that this will encourage disgruntled employees to bring suit, and it will drive up the costs of business, so I'll be a no. Thank you.
Just no comments? Senator Settlemeyer?
Thank you, Chair. I'll just go and make the comment now rather than after the motion. I think that this increase in exposure to the business community at this point in time, and as we start to try to economically recover, is not wise, and I'll be voting against it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Senator Hardy?
I've always wanted to do this, Madam Chair. Ditto.
So I just got a text from Jimmy Kimmel. He says he's afraid. Okay. I'm going to ask Mr. Keene to weigh in because I met with the sponsor and also met with those in opposition and trying to decide for myself what this would look like. And as I understand, there was a case, and the language that is currently in the bill supports the language of the case, or that language supports the bill. I just need to be clear. Okay. Mr. Keene?
Thank you, Chair Spearman. For the record, Will Keene, Committee Counsel. The two cases that are mentioned in the digest are both relevant to this bill. So the Wiltsey case, the first one, was a circumstance where the Nevada Supreme Court determined that there was a public policy of Nevada to support whistleblowing. However, in that case, the employee who reported the conduct did not report it to an outside entity, an outside enforcement agency, instead just reported it to his supervisor. And so the court said that while the court was going to impute a public policy of supporting whistleblowers, the court would not go so far as to say that a worker who simply supported or simply reported illegal conduct to his supervisor would get that protection. So unfortunately for the employee in that case, he was not protected because he did not report it to an outside entity. This bill in part codifies that decision, puts in statute the public policy that was enunciated by the Nevada Supreme Court, but also extends it in giving the whistleblower protection to a person, as would have happened in the Wiltsey case, a person who reports to a supervisor that illegal activity. In the Alum case, there was an employee who reported his activity, reported the activity to the outside entity that was an entity that could take action and was an enforcement entity. However, it turned out that that the conduct did not seem to be as problematic as the employee thought it was. And in that case, the Supreme Court, once again, operating on a public policy grounds, as opposed to looking at a specific Nevada statute, determined that many of the employees' claims should have been given more consideration. And so what this statute does is it takes ideas from those two cases and puts them directly in statute. And that will serve a number of purposes, but one of which will give a statutory basis going forward for the courts to interpret these actions. Many of the concerns that were brought up at the hearing about what will constitute unsafe conduct, can employee stop working, what's a reasonable belief, those will all be fleshed out by the courts under the statute, and a body of case law will come forward so that over time, attorneys who potentially represent employees will have a very good idea about what cases should and should not be brought as the court fleshes out these ideas. But certainly this is a basis that the courts can then build upon to flesh out all these different concepts. Thank you.
Senator Pickard?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I agree completely with Mr. Keene in everything he just stated. You know, the Wiltse case was about a whistleblower, and the whistleblower statutes in Nevada were clear enough to support the court's findings. But the parts that I really struggle with, and after talking to several business or commercial litigation attorneys, I don't want to say consensus, but our feeling was that the provisions under Section 1 Sub 2, particularly reinstatement without loss of position, seniority, or benefits, would force an employer to take an employee back that would then have an axe to grind and could open some really serious doors for them. And that would be reinstatement without their control, which I think is contrary to public policy in private businesses. And then the future compensatory damages, of course, they would need to be proven. That's going to be problematic because that essentially sets up a pension program for them. And then the punitive damages is something that we haven't generally seen except for egregious cases, and this would allow them in all cases, or at least be argued in all cases. And so it just raises the intensity of the litigation that could ensue. Were we to follow history and say, you know, you're entitled to damages, I'd be perfectly okay with this bill, but this goes so much farther and really, in my mind and in the mind of those that I spoke to, creates a definite incentive for disgruntled employees to really create havoc in business. Although they may be relatively small in number, it's going to affect whatever the prices are that business has to charge. And so I think because this is a significant expansion, I just can't support it. But I do agree with everything Mr. Keene just said.
Thank you. Vice Chair?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I've been talking to the sponsor about this bill, and I understand the position of the business community in regards to they have issues with Section 1. It's my understanding that she's still trying to get this out of committee and potentially try to do a floor amendment, that section. So I am leaning towards supporting her with the reservation. It's a big move, and some of the reasonableness, I had questions to her offline, not to weigh in and throw too much dirt on her bill. So I'm going to vote yes and hope that she can find a place with a different standard with the other parties.
Thank you. Is that a question, Senator Pickett?
No, Madam Chair, I guess I'm just slightly on the other side. I'm no, but if that amendment comes through and softens the harshness of this, I might vote yes on the floor. But I'll wait to see what comes out in the floor amendment. Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else? So, yeah, I did see an amendment from Ms. Grimmer, and I ran that by our council to see if that would comport with the intent of the bill, and it would basically erase it. I'm coming on the same side as Vice Chair Neal. I'd really like to see some type of compromise, and that is because I am sensitive to what businesses have gone through, and I'm also sensitive to what happens when we don't take a lot of things into consideration from an employee standpoint. And I think the example that was given when I met with those in opposition, the example that was given was if someone is working next to someone who doesn't have a face mask on, and they think that that's a safety violation. If I were that person, having been in ICU, I would probably say, yeah, because I don't want to go back. But I also understand what Senator Settlemyre said. I think you used the ranch, and your daughter says, is that this is unsafe, and you say, no, this is kind of the way we do it. There's got to be some kind of a middle ground here, and I want us to be able to reach it. I asked Mr. Magalejo if he would, is she coming? She can't come? Okay, she can't come. So, on the one hand, business, on the other hand, employee. And I think we have to find some middle ground here. And I agree there should be something by way of a floor amendment that would answer the concerns of those who have raised those concerns. And I think one of the things that has happened this session is many of the bills that have come through, not just here in this committee, but have come through many committees, is trying to balance the needs of both. And I'm of the opinion that they are not mutually exclusive. I'm of the opinion that it's not one person has to win it all and the other person lose it all. I'm of the opinion that there's got to be some type of a middle ground. That's with this bill, and then there are other bills that want to put things in statute that will protect not just employees, but that will also protect homeowners. And so again, you know, what do we do for homeowners who have suffered, just like businesses have suffered? There's got to be some kind of a middle ground. So all right, she can come down in about 5 minutes, and why don't we take a, we got another bill we got to do? Yeah, so we'll pause this one, we'll pause on 222, and we'll go to Assembly Bill 51.
Thank you, Madam Chair. For the record, Cesar Melgarejo, Community Policy Analyst. And my apologies, I missed the bill, Assembly Bill 51, which is the top of the batting roster. Assembly Bill 51 revises provisions governing the recovery fund administered by the State Contractors Board and is sponsored by Assembly Committee on Commerce and Labor on behalf of the State Contractors Board, and there are no amendments to this measure.
Any questions or comments? Senator Pickert?
Hey, Madam Chair, we had discussed an amendment. I'm concerned about the breadth, the narrowing of who might be eligible, and then the expansion of this. So I'll be a no. Seeing no amendment, I'll be a no.
Additional comments, questions? Okay, Madam Secretary, please do a roll call vote. Here we go again. Motion. Do I have a motion? I have a motion from Senator, I'm sorry, I have a motion from Vice Chair Neal and a second from Senator Lang. Additional discussions? Okay, now, Madam Secretary, please do a roll call vote.
Senator Hardy?
No.
Senator Lang?
Yes.
Senator Neal?
Yes.
Senator Pickard?
No.
Senator Scheibel? Senator Settlemyre? No. And Chair Spearman?
Yes? And while we're on this one, why don't we give this, Senator Lang, will you take this for a statement? Okay, thank you. So the motion does carry. I see Assemblywoman Torres has come, and so if you can come to the table, and there's several questions regarding what this would or would not do with respect to business practices. Do you have anyone with you or here that practices in this particular field?
Yes, I believe Attorney J.P. Kemp is on the Zoom.
Okay. All right. So, Senator Pickard, can you state? And I don't know if you'd been following, but state. One moment, please. One moment. Oh, they have to get him on. Well, while they're doing that, let me just go and see if Senator Pickard, if you'll restate your concerns, and I think Senator Hardy, did you have? No, you were Jimmy Kimmel. Senator Settlemyre, you had concerns? Okay, all right. Let's begin with Senator Pickard while they get
Assemblywoman Torres, we did not receive somebody with the last name of Kemp, and I don't see them on Zoom or registered for today's meeting.
If the chair would like to give me an additional 10 minutes, I will figure that out right now. I thought that they were going to be registered for today's meeting, but I can get that dealt with immediately. And he's an employment lawyer, so it might be best if we can hold off for 10 more minutes. I apologize, Chair.
All right, so what we'll do is we'll go back through the bills and I'll assign floor statements and hopefully they will, we'll be able to get Mr. Kemp on. Okay? All right. So we'll go back through and we had 2 consent agendas and did not assign floor statements. So let's do that now. Mr. Marmolejo, you want to read the bill again and I'll assign floor statements after that.
Assembly Bill 91 is. This is the bill relating to State Board of Nursing.
And that was a pass. I'll take that statement.
Next bill is Assembly Bill 130. This was governing insurance practices from Assemblyman Flores.
Senator Pickert?
Next is Assembly Bill 190, provides certain employees with the right to use sick leave, and this was sponsored on behalf of the senior citizens, veterans, and adults with special needs.
Let's see, Senator Hardy? You want to take that one? Thank you.
Next is Assembly Bill 207. This was not part of the consent, but this is the bill from Assemblyman Watts regarding a public accommodation.
And I think that was split. Senator Scheibel?
I'll take it.
Oh, Vice Chair, you take it now. I'll come right back to you, okay? I don't want to leave you out.
Next, I have Assembly Bill 210, which was part of the due pass consent and revises provisions governing practice of chiropractic. Assemblyman Yeager was the sponsor.
Thank you. Senator Scheibel? Okay.
Assembly Bill 210 was also not, well, actually, my mistake. Assembly Bill 250, which was part of the consent calendar for amend due pass. This is relating to insurance to supplement Medicare, and sponsored by Assemblywoman Howdigi.
Senator Pickert?
Next is Assembly Bill 290, revises provisions relating to financial institutions. Again, it was sponsored by Assemblywoman Howdigi.
I'll take the floor statement because that was the one that I had questions on and they resolved, so.
Next, Assembly Bill 298, revises provisions relating to non-commercial vehicle leases, and sponsored by Assemblyman Flores. The rest of these bills are part of the amend due pass consent calendar.
Someone want to take that one? Oh, Senator Settlemeyer.
Next, Assembly Bill 330, governing occupational training and licensing.
Who would like to take that one? Senator Lang? Okay. Oh, Senator Hardy, did you say, okay, Senator Hardy. Senator Hardy.
Next is Assembly Bill 359, and this was governing trade practices from Assemblywoman Considine.
You want to take that? Senator Lang?
The next bill is Assembly Bill 391, revises provisions relating to dispensing of petitions from Assemblywoman Anderson.
Someone want to take that? Okay, Senator Scheibel.
And then we have Assembly Bill 436, revises provisions relating to vision insurance, sponsored by Assembly Commerce and Labor.
Senator Lang. All right, so we've got all of the floor statements assigned. Assemblywoman, I see you back. Were you able to make contact?
Thank you, Chair. Assemblywoman Toys, for the record. Yes, so I was able to make contact. The employment lawyer cannot be on at this time. You know, if the committee has additional questions, I'm more than happy to take those questions right now. Go speak with the attorney. He's currently in court. And obviously there's very few employment attorneys here in the state of Nevada. This is not a realm where we have an abundance of resources. So unfortunately, he's not going to be able to be present with us today. But I can take those questions now, and I can get back to the committee. That's all I can agree to.
All right, Senator Pickert?
Thank you, Madam Chair, and Assemblywoman Torres, thanks for coming down. The question, or the concern was this, that Section 1, Sub 2, really expands or creates an incentive for disgruntled attorneys to create problems that wouldn't have existed before this. In that reinstatement of loss of position, seniority, or benefits over the objection of an employer kind of works against the interests of private industry. And then past or particularly future compensatory damages. We've always had the ability to go after future damages that can be proven, but this essentially invites that. And then punitive damages is something that we generally don't see in private civil litigation. And because when you put them all together, the employment attorneys that are my go-to people, I contacted them, and they're all acknowledging that this is likely to create a bit of an incentive for the disgruntled employees, and so we just but I understand an amendment may be coming, and if that's the case, and we can soften this, I may be a yes, but right now I can't support this in its current form. But that was my concern.
Thank you for the question or the concern, the comment, Senator, through the chair. Assemblywoman Torres, for the record. So, I think
Just
that,
go direct.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I think that might be a policy difference, quite honestly. But I can tell you, I've worked pretty extensively with the businesses, the business community, to make sure that we are making it as close to case law. Part of the issue is that, current law, like the current case law that exists, goes through OSHA. And so and through the OSHA board, there are ways for them to seek those damages. And so now we have to find a way to codify those, right? And so the way that that's being done, I think that there's a disagreement, but there's still the possibility of another amendment before this bill gets voted on the floor. And I'm committed to continuing to work with those stakeholders.
Sure, and I appreciate that. I think that there are parts of this bill that are very good. OSHA is, it's a great point. They are only interested in safety. And there's nothing, or there's very little in the OSHA statute that would address the whistleblower issues that this addresses, and I think those are good ideas. But to the extent that this expands, I think that's the concern of the business industry. And since those costs are ultimately passed on to the consumer, that's why I think we're probably getting the pushback, and that's why we're concerned. Thank you.
Thank you. So thanks for the record. So, obviously my concern, though, is the hardworking Nevada families right now that are unable to feel unsafe and uncomfortable at their work. And unfortunately, I think it's a large amount. In my community, in my district, people talk to me about the safety issues that they see and how when I encourage them to go speak to their employer about those safety issues, many of them, because I do have community with a large amount of construction workers and a large amount of casino workers. And a lot of them, expressed to me that they're concerned because they have a friend. Everybody has a friend in our community, and they have a friend that did the same thing and they lost their job. And so this piece of legislation is trying to do that. And I think, during the hearing, we heard from senators that expressed that, we would like to have policy that encourages the employees to report to their employer. The unfortunate reality is that that does not exist right now. And so I'm hoping that this piece of legislation encourages individuals to report to their employer before having to report to regulatory agencies so that they can address that issue right away. And I'm, eager to continue working with the business community so that we can make sure that it makes sense for all hardworking Nevada families.
Senator Settlemyer?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I think the Assemblywoman's 100% correct. It's just a question of policy. It's a different policy, and that's it. And frankly, I see no reason to continue to redo a hearing when I don't think it's going to change the vote. The possibility of an amendment on the floor may change people's positions. Otherwise, I see none. I am a manager of the third largest fatality industry in the nation. That is agriculture. It is an inherently dangerous job. And the things I do, sometimes a lot of people wouldn't want to do because they're unsafe, and I get that. And that's why they generally choose to go find a job that is less dangerous, which is usually the hospitality industry by far and away compared to agriculture. Because in the middle of this pandemic, all ag still had to show up. Because for some reason, cattle think they need to be fed every day. Strange thing. But in that respect, I'm good. I'm opposed to the bill. I hope there might be an amendment. But this time, I see no reason to continue rehearing this.
Thank you. So we're just about ready to take the vote, and some people may not understand why I take that extra time. I just need to make sure that everybody knows that their opinion has been heard and that we will, in some way or another, address it. And so, Assemblywoman, before you got here, I said I wanted to make sure that I understood that there was an ongoing discussion to see what you could do in order to at least get to go. So I'm gonna vote yes, but I'm going to encourage you to continue to talk with those who are in opposition, and let's see what happens with the floor amendment. Okay? All right. So with that, motion. I was going to do it. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
I have a motion from Senator Lang. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Vice Chair Neal. Additional questions? Okay. Now, Madam Secretary, please do a roll call vote.
Senator Hardy,
No.
Senator Lang,
I think this bill needs to go to the floor. I'm going to vote yes with reservation. I hope we have an amendment.
Senator Neal,
Yes.
Senator Pickard,
No.
Senator Scheibel, Senator Settlemyer, Chair Spearman.
Yes? Okay, so the motion does carry, and I'll hold off on the floor statement till we see the amendment. And you get a chance, let's try to huddle, you and those who are in opposition. I know today's the last day, and whatever time, 2 minutes or whatever, let's see if we can huddle.
Thank you, Chair. Someone says for the record, and just all the stakeholders know I'm continuing to working with stakeholders. I think we actually have a meeting already scheduled Monday for this piece of legislation, so that we can get everybody into the room and accomplish exactly what I think that the committee is encouraging me to accomplish.
Thank you. Mr. Margalejo, have we left anything undone?
Madam Chair, I believe that is everything that was on the agenda for today, except for public comment.
Okay. And so let's go to the phones to public comment. Broadcast, do we have anybody there for public comment? Hello? Is broadcast there?
Sorry, Chair, one moment. Please stand by as we check.
Thank you, Chair. Sorry for the delay. To give public comment, please press *9 now to take your place in the queue. Chair, we have no callers at this time.
Thank you. Just a couple more seconds, just in case someone was having technical difficulty.
Absolutely, Chair. Broadcast is standing by.
Okay, seeing none. Nobody, is that right?
Yes, Chair, there are no additional callers at this time.
Okay. Thanks so much. At this point, it appears that we have done the work that the people sent us here to do. I acknowledge the fact that I think we had 90 bills? 90 bills that we processed, 60 from the Senate and 30 from the Assembly. I believe, it is my opinion, that we did a pretty good job vetting them and making sure everyone's concerns were heard. I want to give a big thank you to all of the staff. Some of them you see, some of them you don't, who have worked diligently to make sure that this goes off the way that it should. Committee managers, secretaries, our legal counsel, everyone. So I want to give a big thank you to them. Yeah. And the next thing I want to do, I want to give a big thank you to the committee. I don't care how good the quarterback is. If you don't have somebody that's catching the balls, you're still not going to win. So it is you have my profound gratitude for all the work that we've done. We didn't agree all the time, but the one thing that we didn't do, we didn't become disagreeable. And if we have any footage of that, we probably want to send it to Washington. Anyway, thank you. Thank you so much, team. Thank you. With that, we will be adjourned. If there are other bills that come our way that are not subject to Rule 40, we will call back again. But we are adjourned. Senator Lang?
Well, Chair, we just wanted to thank you for your leadership and good committee.
Thank you. And with that, we will be in adjournment. Thank you. We're adjourned.